Hello and welcome to Community Tools Rural. I'm your host, Ryan Fgrave, and today we have Robert Marshall. Robert's an 8-time Enterprise Mobility MVP and has created well over a dozen community tools for SCCM. So hey Robert.
Hey, hi Ryan.
Hi. So how about you give us a little bit of your background?
Yeah, sure. Hello everybody. So, as Ryan said, my name is Robert Marshall, Enterprise Mobility MVP. I'm based in London. I'm a configuration manager consultant. You notice I didn't call it SCCM then. Many years ago, for many years, it's been a running joke that you don't call it SCCM. So that may be a bit lost on some of you, but for those of you who know, it's a bit of an in-joke. So I've been specialising in SCCM configuration manager for something like a decade. I began implementing SMS 2003. I was working at a pharmaceutical company in Kent, England, and got to roll the tool out. And from there, I just became a specialist in it, and I didn't take on any more roles. I didn't reskill, which is a bit of a thing that I do quite often, or I used to. Before SMS 2003, I was reskilling almost every other month into something new in the IT space, trying to find a fit, something that interested me. My attention span can wander really quickly if something doesn't interest me, and configuration manager is a pretty complicated product, so it was like crack cocaine to an IT engineer and just pulled me straight in, and ever since SMS 2003, as those of you that have followed the product will know, it's gone through several major iterations or milestones that have introduced severe drift in functionality or severe additional super wonderful functionality. SMS 2003 went to AD, gave us the AD integration. Configuration Manager 2007 gave us some cracking OSD integration with software updates. Then we hit the 2012 product, and now we're at a non-year denominated product, System Center Configuration Manager current branch. And yeah, I think it's about 10 years of running with this product in both small and very large implementations of it, from designing it to implementing it to using it. So I've had a very good spread of experience on this tool. Before then, my early formative years were as a PC or an 8-bit PC enthusiast in England. Mid-80s, early 80s, all the 8-bit computers flooded the market. Competitive, reasonable prices, became accessible to the likes of me. My mum bought me one for my birthday. A ZX81 from Sinclair, and from there I went to the Commodore range. Really bigged it up on the Commodore Amiga 500, and then over to a PC. But during those early years, I was really heavily into programming. I did a correspondence course, and I took a variety of languages through there. Turbo Pascal, I'd understood BASIC already from monkeying around with the 8-bit computers. I did a bit of COBOL, funny enough, Common Object Business Orientated Language, which I can unfortunately cannot forget that acronym. Never used the product at all, the language at all. But I drifted into 68,000 assembler programming language, programming with mnemonics and having good fun, direct register access and free range over the memory. And really had a good time with that, writing bits and pieces. But I didn't really have the internet like we have it today. I had a dial-up to bulletin boards. I met people, but not at the volume that we do nowadays. I can well imagine 13-year-olds and above, because I was 13 when I first touched my first PC, a computer. They have a different go at it than I did. Everything's very complicated now, touch screen, state-of-the-art technology. But back then it was all pretty primitive stuff. Like a game back then was a white brick moving around, a white block moving around with 2 paddles on either side. Very primitive stuff. But what we have now today is just stunning. But the programming didn't really become a career. It was just enthusiast, and that dropped off when I got into the PC. And I remember the PC at that point, I was doing a lot of Turbo Pascal, and then Windows came in big time, and we eventually ended up with VBScript, which everyone knows and loves, or not. Replaced by PowerShell now. So I've seen quite a lot of programming scripting languages, Ryan, and pretty much landed as a consultant with SCCM now. I think that pretty much is it.
Cool. So how did you get into making tools?
That's a really good question. So yeah, I think it kind of leads on from my background. I like to monkey around and make things, and in all my roles, I was a helpful chappy by writing glue scripts, add-ons, bits and pieces for the companies I worked at. Most of the companies that I worked at, I actually had signed paperwork saying I could not share anything that I'd written on site. I was working for banks and rather large organisations and such like. So pretty much all the stuff that I wrote, when we did have the internet at that point, I couldn't share. And I wrote some pretty cool stuff. I wrote training systems, rehydration systems before we had them now. Johan has mastered the fine art of hydration, and I was banging away at that hydration using Ghost. Do you remember Ghost, Ryan?
Oh, I remember Ghost.
Audience, do you remember Ghost? We all rolled our eyes, but what a cracking product. And that really enabled automation and blasting custom images onto hard drives. I've done a variety of different things, not just in that spaces, but written tools inside of companies and scripts and such things, but never been able to share them. Then I got the MVP status, and I still had the problem that I couldn't share commercial intellectual property of the companies I was working on. Some people take a different approach. I guess nowadays there's more of a relaxed attitude to it, but I was always in fear of my job, so I didn't really want to post stuff that I was getting up to from these companies, diluting it, stripping it down, redacting whatever, and then offering it up. I just didn't bother. So when I finally did get around to sharing, it was like done in spades. I was sharing as much as I possibly could, except for the company stuff, which meant doing a lot of stuff in labs and looking at what people wanted and just monkeying around. So yeah, that kind of led me into writing tools. And why have I written a dozen or so tools for SCCM? Well, actually, folks, ladies and gentlemen, purely fun. It's for an actual purpose. The first set of tools that I put up on the TechNet gallery for CM, a few of them were scripts. I think there's one called Custom DDR. It's a VB script PowerShell type thing. I never made that into a compiled standalone, but I wanted to learn C#. I had Visual Studio up. I've been doing Visual Studio and playing around with .NET, Visual Basic for applications and stuff like that. So I had a bit of I had a good understanding of object-oriented languages and such things. But I wanted to learn C#, and I kind of missed C++. And I don't really want to get back into that. That was just too much effort. So C# seemed to be a good compromise, good middle ground. And I didn't really know the language fully. So I just used creating tools as an excuse for learning. And as I got progressively better, the tools got better. And I got more prolific. And that's kind of plateaued for the moment. I've moved over to trying to create a couple of commercial tools. And I'm tied up in another project to produce something else. So my time's a bit limited lately, and I haven't really produced another training tool, another tool. But but yeah, that's essentially why I create tools for the fun, really. I don't like maintaining them. That comes with the job. But one of the tools that I have at the moment that's the most time intensive in terms of maintenance is a tool called System Center Store. I was tired of going from one company to the next and downloading the same set of tools from different sources, and my memory's not the best. I'd end up Googling and browsing myself around to find them. So I thought I'd put that all into one repository, put that up online. I could download the tool anywhere I am, and the rest is history, really. The benefit is that it's on TechNet Gallery and others can use it. And I try to keep that current. The manifest I try to update. I try to put in, there's all kinds of things in there. There's books, events, third-party tools, and also a whole bunch of community tools. I think there's about 120. I even think we've got the free versions of right-click in there.
Yep, there are some right-click tools in there.
Yeah, there's right-click tools in there, a selection of them. I think I've got one of yours in there, Ryan.
Yep.
But yeah, I try to hawk around looking for people that have written tools, cool tools, go in the cool tool, and I update the manifest a very irregular schedule, kind of fits around my free time. There's a couple of other tools that I've written. One of the most popular actually is a tool called InboxMonitor, and you just point that at your config manager inboxes, and you can just see the file counts in there. And I've actually used that as well. It actually has a purpose. I didn't write that just for fun. I wrote it because I was going to customer sites, and that's one of the things that I was looking at for Config Manager 2007. There was a real problem with inbox build-up occasionally, and it could cause a lot of lag out. And if I'm an on-site consultant for a day or two at the most, I really haven't got much time to be digging around. So I wanted a tool that would just visualize that for me, and that's why we've got InboxMonitor.
Yeah, that tool is really nice because, I mean, it's one of those where it seems like such a simple one where you're just getting the file count of a directory, but just the way it's all put together, it's one of the most popular tools for SCCM in general.
It's become that way, and I actually am really surprised by that. It does make me happy to hear that. It really does, because I write it for fun, but I'm giving them away for free because I enjoy doing that as well. I started to try and make commercial tools, and that's a different kind of beast entirely. I wrote one called Location Aware. I missed a boat on that one, I'm afraid. This one was a tool that would give you affinity for software update points and management points, and it was one of my bugbears. I've been pestering that product group for a long time to tell them to shoehorn content management, and not just content location lookup, but location awareness for practically every role on this product that needs it. It's an enterprise product. It should know where you are, and you should be able to say that you use this software update point and no others, and localized management point access. But we've seen that with management points now, haven't we, Ryan? We've got management point affinity built into current branch, and I don't know what they're going to do, but there may be on the table some stuff around software update point affinity as well, which would be great.
They've talked about that, I think, at MMS. That is going to be coming.
Yeah, I'm actually under NDA, and I didn't attend the MMS, but so yeah, you'll have to excuse me if I play dumb, and you already know that there's something there. But that's just part of being the MVP, is that we get told quite a lot of information, and it sometimes can be very difficult to discern what we are allowed to say and what we're not. But yeah, I wrote Location Aware. I sold it to one company, actually, a rather large company. They got some good benefit out of it, but then Microsoft soon after, I got through 3 iterations, major versions of the product, where I just kept on slapping new bits and pieces on, and then when I got the customer in, they wanted a few other bits and pieces, so I got it up to version 3. But then Microsoft released management point affinity built into the product. There was a hotfix that came out, a cumulative update at CU3 for 2012, and that introduced that allowed MP list registry key, which gave customers, if they wanted to, the ability to affinitize the management point for a group of clients. You could just use compliance settings or DCM in 2007, so compliance settings, and you can pin people to a management point. It's still a bit kludgy. It wasn't built into the UI properly, and that's kind of what I was trying to do with Location Aware. But yeah, when I realised that weren't really going to, they hadn't got any more traction, I wasn't going to be really happy selling that, with just affinity for the SUP, but Microsoft have already got affinity for the MP. I just gave up, and I put that on TechNet. You can actually download that and play around with it, and although it works, V3 does stand up. It has a couple of little bugs and such things, but like I say, the functionality is not really needed anymore. You don't need to install it. But because it was such a complicated product, it took me something along the order of 9 months, not full time, amongst all the other tasks I was doing, to get up to V3. And I didn't want to just bin it, Ryan, so I put that up for free on TechNet Gallery. I should put the source code up there as well, maybe, because there's quite a lot of good source code there that people could pick through. I've moved on to another product that I wrote. It's a InboxMonitor on steroids. Proper true graph in not real time, but 5 second, 10 second, 15 second sampling of the inboxes with Microsoft graphs to show you historical data. So you could look at a 24-hour period of sampling, and you can actually see what the inboxes were doing at that point in time. And although I had chats and conversations with a product group about the efficacy of that kind of angle of troubleshooting, they were adamant that we don't really need to be looking in that area at all. But they were saying that about the inboxes before, and yet they were a plague, a pestilence, a troubleshooting hotspot often enough. That's softened up now, and they're a lot more robust and resilient. But you can still get inbox build up. But more importantly, you can get a profile of your server performance. If you underspec it, you will know by just running this tool and looking at the inbox activity, because you'll see it grinding away. You'll see collection evaluator waking up and how long that takes. You can get a baseline, but I think that it has some not side effects. I guess every time it's sampled, it added a couple of hundredths of a millisecond onto the time. So after about the hundredth, the thousandth iteration, it was actually becoming very, very latent. So it would start off at 10-second sampling, and by the time it got through the course of the day, it'd be up to like several minutes, 10 minutes. And I couldn't actually fix that. It looked like it was manifesting, the operating system's NTFS driver was manifesting that, and I couldn't get around it. So I've stopped really promoting that and really thinking about it. It's still up on my website. It says it's for sale, but it's something that I was thinking about giving away for free. But I have reservations because it's a complicated tool that you can easily grind your machine into a stone, into nothing. You can really affect the performance of the site server if you don't use it right. And I don't want to put something out there that's for free, that can cause that kind of that needs that kind of attention. If you get someone to pay for it, they take it seriously, and they push the right buttons and they do the right things. But if it's free and downloadable, we've all met people, maybe even some are listening, that they just want to download, click, see, consume, discard. They don't really want to read too much. They don't want to know too much about it. It needs to be a very intuitive experience. So because that product isn't like that, I've decided not to really make it available on TechNet. But I may change my mind. I don't know. I was thinking of rewriting it and doing a whole different way of doing things with performance monitor counters instead of direct access to the inboxes. But the reason why I did direct access to the inboxes through the NTFS, through the file system, was simply because I've got visibility of all inboxes, whereas the performance counters are a subset of the inboxes, very limited set. DDR processing, Ryan, stuff like that.
Yeah.
If there's a management point, you get some management point metrics. So I'm currently thinking about creating another commercial tool. It's a full-blown monitoring solution. I know that we've got monitoring through MOM, but that's really notification and alerting. I actually want something that's for monitoring, and you can see almost in real time what's actually happening, what your load is on the system and such thing. So that's something that's a work in progress at the moment. But yeah, that's pretty much all the tools that are super cool. There's lots more on TechNet. Maybe you can put a link. I'll send you a link that people visit. They get to see all my tools by author on TechNet Gallery. They can just pick through them.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, when I go to look at your tools, yeah, I definitely see you give a lot of instructions for how to correctly use them, which
Yeah,
I myself usually just browse. I don't necessarily read all of it, and just run them and see what happens.
yeah, and what a wonderful world that would be if tools weren't sometimes dangerous. Not dangerous, but require a bit of RTM to operate, kind of thing. But yeah, I try to cover the bases by sharing information. Really, it's just making sure that like a parent is passing off the kid, just making sure they've got everything. Fatherly Robert. I just throw them up there, give you instructions, and walk away. No, people make comments on there. I respond because I get notifications. So if you like something, don't like something about it, say something there, and I come back and I start posting about it. I comment, reply. So you can talk to me via TechNet.
I did have a question though about so you use the same icon with all of your stuff. Where did that icon come from? Because it kind of looks like a nuclear symbol.
Yeah,
or like
yeah.
a nuclear
Which is
bomb.
even more of a prophecy of doom of if you download this and run it.
I just assumed that was you saying your stuff is the bomb.
I love the way that you interpreted that, Ryan. Actually, it's so simplistic, it's ridiculous. So, my company needed a logo, and I'm not the most creative guy in the world. You can see that from my user interfaces. I don't use Windows Presentation Foundation to trim things up, make it look really slick for the end user. I just throw together a Windows format and bung it together, and it really does look laid out like a developer. It could, you know, if I could get somebody to do the UI loving on my tools, they'd probably look really cool. But that icon, the history is that I needed an icon, I needed a logo, so I was thinking, what can I have? So I wrote a circle. There are 3 pyramids in the circle, and you missed it by a mile, but it's actually supposed to represent a hierarchy with sites. So you've got your top site, the top triangle within the circle. The circle denotes an estate. But obviously that's completely been lost on you, right?
Yes.
So that's why it's there. But yeah, no, it's the bomb. I like that better. It rolls off the tongue better. But no, the System Center store had the same icon, has the same icon today, I think. And I tweeted, would anybody like to draw an icon for it, a logo, because it looks a bit naff. And I got somebody back, and I've got a really super cool logo. I'll share it with you now if I've got it on this machine. I don't think I have. No, I don't have it on this here. I have it on the machine at home. But yeah, they've created a really slick new logo, and I'll be using that for the store. It'll be on the TechNet Gallery page, but it'll also be that little icon. So future tools, I should really not be lazy and just use the same company logo. I should make one per product. And you know what I was thinking? When you make a logo for a tool, it gives it personality, Ryan.
Yeah.
You know, it gives it a kind of theme and an identity, and I've never really thought about that. I just put these tools up on TechNet Gallery, and that's it. You know? You run them. I don't really care what you see, as long as it works and it gets the output to you, you know, in a format that you can use. But now I started to contemplate the harm I've done by putting out that naff logo. But yeah, it's the bomb.
Yeah, definitely. So, I know I asked you before and we had talked, did you want to kind of demo some of your tools?
Yeah, I could, I suppose. Shall we have a look at that Inbox Monitor?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to download it from TechNet Gallery. I've got it on the hard drive, but a funny story is that I accidentally deleted InboxMonitor from my source folder on my home PC, and I've not because I lost the source code. I've not been able to update the tool, so I just walked away from it, stopped developing it. But I was just sniffing around on this laptop, and I had the fortitude to back up my development area, and it's there. So let's have a look. Would you believe it? I found it today. So what I'll do is I'll just bring that up. It's on a bit of a strange aspect on my laptop. And I just need to get a way to share this with you. 2 seconds. So that's shared. It should take a few moments to pop up. Let me know if it's resizing that okay.
I can see it. I believe we'll be able to see it once the video comes.
Okay. Okay. So this is my Visual Studio project. I can't remember what version I'm running on here. Can't even remember how to get that up anymore. I'm such an old, fatigued person. Here we go. About Visual Studio. I think this is the latest one, 2015. Maybe they got a 2016. I've got an MSDN subscription, so I get the full studio and activate it with that. But you can use a community edition if you want to have a little play around. Do it for free. If you really get into it, maybe look at getting a Visual Studio license, or I'd really recommend an MSDN license. It gives you free range for a lot of the software on Microsoft. You get all the back office apps, System Center apps. You get to Office and all the other stuff, so it's a pretty cool subscription. It's served me well. So this is Inbox Monitor, and we're looking at the form for this thing. It is as you would see it when you launch it. It's got a pretty cool graph. Let's launch it, shall we? Let's click start. I don't even know if it worked, Ryan. I haven't run this source since I found it. It's in the wrong. Yeah, it's in the wrong. Here we go. It's in the wrong profile. For those that are new to Visual Studio, you can run it in debug, which puts all the symbolic debug code in there, so that I can do break points, step through, step into, and usual debugging tools. And that's what I just asked it to do. So we'll switch it over to the debug profile. We'll get this up and running. Now, I'm not actually sure if that will show anymore.
No, it does not.
No, but let me see what I can do about that. It's just that I shared one process and it's launched another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, cool. All right then. Just a moment. I'll find something interesting to scan with this tool. So yeah, this Inbox Monitor. Sorry to not be excited and tell you all about it, but yeah, I kind of like just assume people know about this thing. So yeah, you can use this to access the a site server. That can be a site system with an MP on there. You'll have inboxes. At that point, it can be a secondary site server or a primary, or even the CAS, which is a primary. And it will connect up, and you can use two different ways to do it. You can use admin shares, which is $, $D, or you can use a site share, so SMS_site code. And that exposes the inboxes either way. It's intelligently finding the installation folder if you use the admin shares, and it tunnels in. You just give it the server name and off you go. It's got a few fancy features in here that I completely forgot about, Ryan, and it looks super cool. We've got sampling data at intervals. So we've got almost like, pretty much what Inbox Watchdog does, whereas Inbox Watchdog has given you a historical chart. This one's giving you a snapshot each time you sample. It allows you to show only populated folders, ignore folders that contain less than X amount of files, and I can also output this to a file or memory. So we'll run it, shall we? Without much further ado, let's do it. So what I think you use this tool by going, because we're going to use a path. I think you just click manual. Says the guy that wrote this thing. My name's down there, so I really am not lucky. Yeah, so what it's doing now is it's basically doing the equivalent of dir/s across the root of that folder, and as you can see, it's popped up a very nice textual list of what's in there, and it's sorted it by descending total files column. Yeah, this is actually a development folder. It's full of development projects, bits and pieces. You can see all my source codes in there. I think when I finally retire, Ryan, I'll zip it all up and put it on Technic Gallery. But yeah, we can see that this is basically showing me the folder counts in there. Pretty straightforward. You can see that this is not an inbox. This is not a site server. I've not actually pointed it at one. So that's why this is a pretty cool tool, because you can use this for all kinds of, well, you can use this for your hard drive, or you can just use it for Config Manager. If we click on graph, we've actually got a really cool graph. I might be able to get a little bit more space here. I don't want to stretch it too big. But yeah, we're getting a visual representation of the inboxes here. There'll be a lot less folders in the inboxes, so you wouldn't have this sprawl. But yeah, you're basically looking at the columns for the sizes of your inbox, so you can visually see how big things are. And I don't know if it works. If you hover over, it's supposed to have a tool tip that pops up, but I think that tooltip functionality, it slowly vanishes if these bars are too close together. But normally it would show you the folder and the total files are in there. So that's it really. I think we've completely bottomed that tool out. If you click on about, that it just gives you about how to use it. Again, I've given you some basic bits and pieces, and so and stopped holding your hand and told you to get on with it.
I do have a question there. So one of the issues people have when they use this is they'll see a lot of, files in a specific inbox, and they have no clue what to do from there. Do you usually just like?
Well, I recommend that you delete all.
What's that?
Well, I recommend you just use delete all.
Really?
Not at all. So I think if we just bring that about box up, this is the bit that people don't read, you see. Did you click about?
Hmm.
Did you ever click about? Did you run this tool and click that about button?
I have not.
Yeah,
I don't usually assume instructions though are in about, so I'll
yeah.
definitely have
I
to
kind
check
of
that out.
redefined things there, didn't I, Ryan, without telling anybody? Kind of like just hijacked what the about is supposed to be. But I've sneaked some stuff in here, and it does say, where does it say it? I don't know. It says it here somewhere. Remember that deleting files from the inbox is not a good idea. If you are going to do it, please familiarize yourself with the issue and any solutions offered with their accompanying pros and cons. That was kind of my disclaimer. But if you delete files in any of the inboxes and you don't know what you're doing, you could cause some problems. Generally, the product's self-healing, so if you were to delete the package definition files, it'll put them all back in there when it figures out you've done a naughty on it. But generally, yeah, this is not an area that most people should be just willy-nilly playing with and cleaning up. But if you have a huge backlog of DVRs, they're very safe to get rid of. If you have a very big backlog of CCRs, there's no real reason to be deleting those, but you might want to. So there's a few places where you can delete, but this really is not a space-saving tool. This is supposed to give you an understanding of what's in your inboxes to see if you have a big problem or none. So yeah, this is, I don't know, what do you think, Ryan? Should I have, before this tool starts up, should I pop up a training video?
A first run?
Yeah. On the first run, at least pop up something to say, danger, danger. But so far, you're the first person to mention to me the concern about deleting files in the inboxes, although, it's an obvious one.
Right. Though you're the one who brought up deleting the files. I just asked what to do.
Oh, damn it. You see there, I tried to second guess you, and I've just played I played the wrong card. But yeah, well, it's good that we brought it up anyway, Ryan, because,
Right.
people, if you download this, don't use it to clean up your hard drives. What do you think you're going to save in terms of disk space on the inboxes? If you're thinking that way, come on, go out and get some water, come back. So yeah, that's InboxMonitor. It says it's at 1.5 there. Yeah, that's as far as I got with it. Probably won't ever touch this again. Do you want to see another cool tool?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get it going. I'll get another one up. This is one that I actually really enjoyed writing. It's System Center Store. This one took me about 5 weeks of fiddling around, spare time again. What we're going to miss is the actual loading sequence. I'll let you, whoever downloads it, they get to see that. So you'll miss that bit here.
I will say that this tool does require an internet connection.
Yeah. So if anybody thinks that they can obtain tools from the internet without an internet connection, I need to talk to you, help you. But yeah, it's good to just qualify that this is actually an internet-based tool. It won't run at all without the internet behind it. And the reason is because I needed a way to update a manifest. But before we get that far in, let's have a little look at it. So is it rendered for you?
Yes, I can see it.
Yeah. So this is organically growing from one window pane with loads of tools in it to multiple tabs with loads of different things in it. And on the home page, I've got some. My idea for the home page is events. Big events, industry events. And there's the one that you've been to recently there, MMS.
Yes, MMS.
What an event! I missed it this year, but I followed it. Epic content, epic presenters. The product group were there, weren't they, as well? The config manager product group were there. Some of them.
They did a hackathon and programmed some stuff for us.
Yeah. Are you able to share that quickly with the audience? Briefly, what we coded up?
The coolest thing that they coded up was the ability to stop a task sequence when it fails instead of failing it. So you can troubleshoot what happened and then resume it once you're finished troubleshooting.
Yeah, that's a great ask, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And yeah, that's a really good idea, the hackathon. There was an MVP summit. Once a year we go to Redmond. Fly in. We fly in. We spend 4 or 5 days with the product group in a room, and they cycle through presenting to us, and we give them feedback. It's a really good channel for MVPs to talk to the product group. Last year I couldn't make it, but last year they had a hackathon and they knocked up a few things. There's a few bits and pieces in the product now that came from that. I think the green light for activity on clients. You get a little green tick now if the client is online.
Yeah, if you ask Garth Jones, he says that was all him.
Yeah, it was. I believe he's got a little shirt. He's got a little give as well, a trophy. They gave him him a trophy for it, and he was really pimping that out on Facebook, making sure everyone knew that he did it. And I love you, Garth. I really do. You're one of the best. Really is. He's just written a new book, and that needs to go into this tool as well. And I've got to say, I haven't had the opportunity to put my hands on it, but I've seen screenshots of it, and that thing is thick. It is huge, and I know that subject very well, reporting. So he must have done a lot of stuff. You know, it's pretty time-consuming to put all that together. So hat off to Garth Jones for doing that.
Okay.
So Ryan, I've put in a search column. I've put in the search for Ryan, and look at that. We've got what 6 tools listed.
Yeah.
6 of your tools, man. Let's check them out. So what have you got going on here? Well, that's what people can do. They can download this tool and they can have a little look around. There's some exceptional talent listed in there, including yourself, Ryan. Ryan, you must interview yourself at some point, or at least try and put on a funny voice as the interviewer and then your normal voice for responding. Or maybe even get somebody to interview you, because you're a talent. You've done some cracking tool coding for the community and such things, so you definitely should be in this podcast. There are a lot of other people in this tool that I think really deserve a big shout. Peter van der Waard, for example. Phil Wilcock from 2 Pint Software has even got some cool stuff in here as well. But yeah, it's Roger Zander, David O'Brien, absolutely loads of authors, and the stuff that they get up to is in here. Can have a little flip through. The stuff that just shot up in yellow is the stuff that was just recently added. Anthony Clenardon has recently updated his Visio stencils. I think that's Visio shapes, Visio stencils. But if we keep scrolling, it just goes on and on and on and on. I think there's 141 entries in here. So that's 141 cool tools for SECM. And they cover all manner of things. It just keeps scrolling, it's silly. And I keep adding to this, and when one of the tools gets updated, maybe the URL breaks or something like that. So I've got another tool called the System Center Manager. I had to write another tool. That took me a week or so, and that actually allows me to manipulate this tool's manifest. So I've got a tool, an editor. So this is the tool that you would download from the internet, but to actually create the manifest and maintain it, I need another tool. I was handcrafting this in XML to start with, Ryan.
Oh.
But obviously it's starting to get a little bit of pain, and especially if you pasted in a description and it had an apostrophe or an escape, a character that should be escaped, and I hadn't, it would just bust the XML, and it'd take ages to figure it out. So I created an editor to keep me on the rails. It does a little bit of filtering of text that goes in now, so I'm pretty much safe to just keep bundling things in. I've got another update of the manifest and the tool itself. Update the binary. This is a self-updating tool as well, so if I update to version whatever, it's at version 1.6 now. So if I release a 1.7 and you've got this 1.6, it's checking on the internet. It sees that there's a newer version. It will actually download it and swap this version out and start up the other version for you. So you never need to download this tool again. You can just keep it in your kit. Even if it gets old, doesn't matter. When you start it up for the first time, knowing that you have internet, because that's 100% mandatory, then you're going to have the latest version. appearing for you. And that's a pretty cool little thing that I wrote into here.
I have a question though. How
Yeah.
do people request a change to this or to add a tool?
Yeah, you can email me, rob@smsmarshall.com. That's SMS Marshall with 2 L's. You can use contact@smsmarshall.com, or you can just tweet me, and it's probably the far easier way of doing it is RobMVP. You find me on Twitter. I'm sure Ryan put up some bits and pieces about me after, and you'll find my blog and my tweet handle there. But yeah, you just feedback to me there, and I'll go in and add or update. And I've had quite a few additions to this product as people have seen it and they go, hey, you've missed out my tools. I've had lots of shouts from various different people in the community and community contributors and such things. And yeah, it's padded out to what, 141 tools in there now. There's documentation as well, a few scripts, lots, compiled executables, loads of those as well. There's links here to take you to the landing page or the home page for the tool itself. You don't need to just keep inside of my tool. You can go and visit the author's home page. So yeah, the idea was to consolidate all the tools that I use at a customer so that I can just go tick, tick, tick and download them. And that's how this has worked out. When I go to a customer, as long as I haven't got problems with their proxy, I originally had problems with customers and their proxies, not all of them. Some of them had proxies set up and I couldn't get through them. I put in some proxy support in this product and that should kind of be working now. But yeah, I get on site, I download this tool as one of the first things I get up to. I select all and I download everything and I leave this with the customer. And it's absolutely a really great way of linking up customers who are new with the tooling, SCCM, new with that, and really don't know where to go, what to do. This tool has most of the tooling that they will need to get SCCM customized up for themselves. But it also goes a little bit further. If we go to books, here we go. There's lots of different books here. So this gives you an on-ramp for boning up on books around the subject SCCM. It's supposed to be a System Center tool, but because I'm SCCM orientated, it's mostly got SCCM stuff in there. In fact, yeah, I forgot about this, Ryan. If you go back to community content, where is it? Down the bottom here, there's a drop-down list. I don't know if that still shows, if it gets clipped, but if I was to go to Service Manager, we mentioned this earlier on, didn't we? There's all the Service Manager documentation. That might be slightly out of date. I might have to have a little look at it, but there's loads of different bits about each of the System Center products in here. Lots of Operations Manager stuff, scripts and tooling for Operations Manager here. Not a huge amount, but you know, I made an effort to.
Yeah, I've actually used this tool quite a bit, and just earlier today I saw that drop down.
Yeah, it's hidden away, isn't it? Very discreet. You could
is it in the about? Did I miss it there?
I like what you did there. I really do. I like it. Yeah, that was funny. But I don't know. Shall we have a little look? Look what I did this time. Instead of a button, yeah, quick and easy. I'm not going to let us read that right now because that just consume us. But I'm sure there's something in there for everything. So yeah, this is community content. This is the drop-down box that gets you to the like orchestrator and all the other stuff in there. It defaults to Configuration Manager because it's the business. And here's all the books, and I've only put SCCM books in here. Lots of deployment artist stuff. Does anybody know what deployment artists are? Johan Arvid, Mark and Co. Some of the best books out there. Ken Agerlin's book, Mastering the Fundamentals. There's a few more books that need to be going in here. Rafael Perez has been putting together some books, Zero to Hero. Sam Erskine, yeah, lots of people. Name drop, but I don't name drop them all. And there's various free ebooks from Microsoft. And the thing about this is you won't be able to see it from me doing this, but if you double click this, it just takes you straight to that page. So if you want to have a look at the Amazon page for Kent's book here, just double click and you're there. You can buy it. You can't buy it from within my product. I thought that was maybe going a bit too far. But we've got communities as well. I really haven't done this area justice, and I do apologize if there's people in the community thinking, oh, why hasn't he done this? Is he saying something by not putting us in there? Not at all. It's just I really haven't got around to it, and when I do, I will try to pad this out with as many watering holes as I know. I just threw, because I was fleshing this out, Ryan, I just threw a few things in there that we all know about. Mighty Forum, Windows Noobs obviously being the biggies, really. I don't want to diminish the other guys, but Mighty Forum is the de facto go-to place for community since day one. Rod Trent and Co. It's been at it since SMS 1.0 or even 0.9 or whatever. Windows Noob, we know Niall Brady. He produces an epic amount of guides. I doubt very much that there's an SECM admin out there that hasn't used one of these guides. If there isn't, if you're one of them and you're listening to this and you're thinking, who's Niall Brady, you should be using Google and finding out. There's also resources, so I didn't really know where to put these things, so I created another tab and called it resources. Very creative of me. You've got I don't know if I've got user voice in here, but yeah, again, lots of different things that you can have a look at. Not many in here. What else have I? Oh yeah, free tools from vendors. So you know, if vendors have got some free tools that you can download, then I put them on here. I originally didn't put any vendor free tools in because they require registration. And my tool, if I haven't even explained this, have I, Ryan? Oh no. If you click download and download, it downloads the tool for you. There's no registration. It just downloads it from the internet for you and plops it into a folder of your choice. Here, because I haven't already defined one, it defaults to C10. But that's where all the tooling will go when you download it. And if I click on, yeah, I'm just going to do it. Should we just live life in the fast lane?
Yeah.
Oh, let's just do it. Let's see what it does. So now I've clicked download. I've got a tooltip pop-up in my system tray telling me that it's downloading. The bottom bar has gone red, just to show you a state change, and it's done. If I was to open up that folder now, I'd have all of those in there. They're structured folder-wise, based on class, I think. But you know, anyone downloads, looks in there, they'll see what I'm talking about. So yeah, you actually download directly using this tool. I probably have mentioned this already, but the vendor free tools, they want you to give your email address to them, marketing. They want to reach out to you and say hi, you know, sales. And I didn't really know how to fit those in here because you can't click download on one of those. So I've created a new area and I charged them because it's effort. So what it then spun off to become was vendor products. So we've now got vendor products in here. But the only company that wanted to put their products up here so far has been 1E. And to be honest with you, I really haven't returned to this to look for more advertising. So that's another thing that kind of brings us on to how this tool is working. So it's a manifest, and it sits on a server that I rent on the internet, and it's an XML file. It's encoded. It's zipped XML that's then encrypted, so you can't actually just download it and read it. It gets downloaded from the internet. It decrypts it, it unpacks it, and then the tool populates everything that we've just looked at. So that's why it's an internet-only tool. Pretty straightforward, really. I had lots of white space, Ryan, and I was thinking, well, I've never done advertising before, and to be honest with you, I really don't have any inclination to ask anybody from the community for money. You know, if I'm writing a commercial product, then yes, but this is a free tool, and I don't really want to start scraping people's pockets, you know, with a PayPal icon or something like that, or you know, buy me a pint of beer. I really wanted this just to be free for the community. And because I knew that this one was going to require a bit of effort over the lifetime of this tool, you know, I'd have to come and edit the manifest, upload it, test it, and just keep an eye on tooling and keep progressively, you know, keeping the manifest update. I thought I'd spin that role off to somebody and pay them, another community guy, but I give them a little bit of cash, and he takes care of was supposed to take care of managing the manifest for me. But I got some advertising money through, and you can see some adverts on here at the moment. There's 1E, I think deployment artists, and one on the right, app technology. So I got a little bit of money, but I didn't actually carry on with the idea of paying him. He never actually did anything. But it's something that I want to do with the guy, because I'd like somebody else to be moderating the manifest, updating it. But it became a bit complicated because I'd need to permission them up on my SharePoint and stuff, and that meant registering them an account, and then it's on Office 365, so I'd have to then have another user subscription, and I just stopped it. So I wrote a tool, and I got that ready, the System Center manager, so that I could kind of at some point hand this over to him or somebody. But yeah, the advertising went in there because I thought, well, I'm going to need to have some money to pay somebody to do this. But I over-labor this point because I've never done advertising before, Ryan, and I don't really care for it too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've never really done that much advertising. I did have a donate button at one point, but it was up for like a year and a half and only one person did it, so
like all the rest of you people, you should be ashamed of yourself. No, not really. I am of the generation of free, and what that means is that when I was a youngster, I hardly paid for anything. I know nowadays we're into big licensing and operating systems. I never paid for a Windows license in all my life, and that kind of became legal because I got an MSDN subscription. But when I was very, very young, Windows, it came with a PC. You never really thought about it. And Windows 95, I bought a new PC, got a license for that, an OEM one. You never think about it, it just comes with the kit. And I never had a need to really buy anything other than games, because that's what I was really into. Everything else was free stuff, not pirated, stolen, but free. So I come from the generation of free tooling from when I was a youngster. It would surprise me to be paying for a tool that's not really, looking like a full-on commercial product. It has to have justification, and it has to switch from free to commercial and be established that way. Otherwise, I just give it away for free. Because that's how I roll, because it's the bomb. So yeah, I don't really have any inclination to charge anybody for anything that I put together, unless it's an endeavour and that I actually intend to make this a commercial tool. And that, Location Aware and Inbox Watchdog are the only two that I've ever written in my life that I've considered to be commercial. So yeah, there you go. So over in this tab we have some vendors advertising. I really should chase up other advertisers and get them to put their things in here, fill it out a bit. But really the vendors I care little for. They're cool products. One of you've got some awesome products there. They're on display on this panel, so they're the only ones I'm going to talk about right now. But there's lots of other vendors out there doing cracking, fine quality solutions. So really it does help for an SCCM guy to see at least one of these content management vendors in here, because it's surprising the amount of people I come across and they don't know about one, or they do know but they don't really know the products. They're getting few and far between because one are very prolific at letting everybody know what they do. But yeah, I thought this area would pay for the tool, and I could hand that money over to somebody to run it if at that point it gets to that stage. So yeah, that's that tool really. Active panels, so I can change all of those. I can change the imagery. Everything is customizable except for the widths and dimensions of the panes. You can shrink and resize this tool to a degree, a little bit. It's got a minimum size, just make sure everything renders properly. But yeah, this is one that I enjoyed writing. It was fiddly. It required a lot of HTTP client stuff. Lots of learning actually, and that's what I enjoy doing. After I've done it, I got bored. I've done that. I've climbed that mountain. What's next? So that one in the top of the list here that I've highlighted, not Inbox Watchdog, not that one. That was the next. That's the one that took my interest. And since I finished Inbox Watchdog, I haven't really developed anything. So the first time in probably 4 months. That opening Visual Studio for you guys, that's probably the first time in 4 months. Yeah, and then at some point I'll get back to writing something. If you've got any ideas, Rob MVP, just tweet me, and if it's fun, I might write it for you. Don't ask me to write something private. It has to be something that can be shared on TechNet Gallery or anywhere you want it to host that I can download it from this with this System Center store. Yeah. Got ideas? Pass them at me, and you know, maybe I'll kick off the dust and open up Studio and make something.
You know, maybe we should see if we could get the list of MMS because they had over 100 suggestions for the hackathon. I wonder if we could get them to publish that list and have people who create tools look at it to get some ideas for some fun ones to make.
That is a genius idea. I don't mind saying so myself. So there's two things about that. The first thing is, do we need the actual code from Config Manager to be able to push that forward, or can we code around Config Manager? So from the list of 100, we've just had to divine which ones are achievable by the community and which ones would actually need the product group to open up the source for the product to integrate it in or such thing. But yeah, if there's something on that list that you know, is doable, we could have a little monkey around with that.
Yeah, there was a one that they talked about that no one coded, so I thought that'd be fun and coded it. It was like it automatically creates an app from a folder. So if like you have a folder called like Adobe Photoshop, it'll create an app called Adobe Photoshop, and then I also made it automatically create a collection, deploy it.
Sorry, Ryan, stop. This is about me. This is about me. Do I have to tell you that? I'm just joking with you. Go on, tell me. I'm absolutely fascinated. You actually had your hands on it. I didn't realize that you participated in the
I
hackathon.
wish I participated in the hackathon. Maybe we could next year get like a toolmaker team to do it, because it was a Microsoft's hackathon team versus Microsoft product group versus Cortec.
Oh, okay. Also Kado and Kenny and
yeah. Microsoft won, but
well, they're bound to. They have the source code, don't they? They're just cheaters. Product group, you're cheaters. But Ryan, did they actually say that they're not going to use the source code, that they were going to code around the product?
No, they actually said that they'll probably win because they have the source code.
Yeah, that's rascals. So what we need to do is we need to level the field a bit, yeah? So next year, if I can make it, but definitely yourself, I'm sure you will. You're on the same continent, so you've got no excuse. But yeah, if we can tailor it to a face-off versus the product group, but just hamstring them so they can't touch the source code. Now that would be a fair, fun gig, you know, that'd be fun.
Okay. So were there other tools that you were like? What's the tool that you kind of are most proud of, or you like the most that you created?
Yeah. This one, System Center Store. Yeah, I know that InboxMonitor is used more. It's got 1,000+ more downloads than this thing, maybe even 2. I can't remember. It's pretty popular, that InboxMonitor. It's not my finest moment, and I didn't really care for it. You know, I just whacked it together. Again, it was to fill a niche. I was at a customer site. I coded that thing V1 on site. I just opened up my laptop. I had direct access back to my lab. I remote controlled into my development VM that I've got just for that purpose. I've got my physical machine, you know, that I do deving on, but I've also got that dev environment, the source code all replicated around the place at the lab at home, and I've got a VM that points back out that, so I can tunnel in from wherever I am. And I was on the customer site, and you know, like half an hour, I botched something together to do the job, and then I skinned it up a little, and then it goes through the usual iterations. But no, really not my favourite. It's the most popular, but it's not mine. It'd have to be from things that you can see, because obviously I haven't released Inbox Watchdog. My commercial tool would be Inbox Watchdog. That really was demanding. I had to learn a lot, and that required a lot of enterprisey style coding. You know, I had to be very, very careful about what I was doing, and performance-wise, you know, always conscious about what I could be doing to the site server. And that was a real good voyage. I enjoyed it. But when it comes to free tools, what one is my favorite? It has to be the System Center Store. It's the most accessible and the most beneficial. It's maintained. It's got a live manifest, and to me it's more useful. You know, Inbox Monitor has just got one use, isn't it? Whereas this thing's a portal to access so much more. Yeah, so that would be my answer.
Yeah, it is
Center
a
Store.
really nice tool. I know that, I mean, a lot of people find new tools from there, and anything that makes you find a, solution to a problem pretty easily like that's definitely a
Yeah,
good tool.
yeah, it's enabling, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. If I was on a desert island and you were asking me what would you take with you in digital form, I would take System Center Store and an internet connection.
Very nice. So yeah, I think that's all that we really have time for. I guess
Sure.
depending on how long the audio interruption, how much time off the clock that took.
Oh, just mere minutes. But yeah, Ryan, it's been an absolute privilege. Thank you very much for making me the first. Also, I haven't met you before. I've emailed you. I remember emailing you about stuff coming in here, I think, the System Center store.
Yeah.
I've kept an eye on you because I saw the stuff coming out of your stable, and I thought that was pretty impressive. So I'm privileged to meet you as well.
Well, thank you.
And you're welcome. I think this is a really good initiative. I love what you're doing here, and yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely great talking to you. I know you're one of the most popular tool makers out there, so very good to
Yeah,
have.
well, when I'm living in my shack and nobody's telling me that, I think, oh, I'm all on my own. Nobody loves me. Not at all. I do know the value of these things, and I'm really glad that people do get value from them. Over the next few years, let's see what else I can produce. But yeah, thank you very much, Ryan.
Oh, thank you.